Welcome back to All This Math. This is Professor Parker. Make sure you are subscribed to the All This Math YouTube channel. Make sure you drop a comment down below. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share it with somebody. Especially drop a comment if it's something that I talk about in this video that you do not understand, right? Please drop a comment if you have a question about something. All right, please do that. All right, so what are we doing today? Today we're doing some work dealing with Keystone Algebra 1. Now, if you're in Pennsylvania, you may be taking the Keystone Algebra 1 exam sometime in the spring of your school year. If you have not already taken it and already passed it successfully, um, this is an example of one of the type of problems you might see on that exam. So let's read it. It says the graph shown below represents the solution set of an inequality. An inequality, right? These are inequalities, right? You got the graph and you got this right here. Notice how there's a dark circle on above 97, and then this means that the number line is shaded in on all the values greater than 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, and so on and so forth, on into infinity, right? That's what that means when you see it shaded in darker. Like over here, this part is not shaded in. This is just a regular number line over here. But over here, you see this is shaded in darker, right? So 97 is included because it's not an open circle or what we call an empty circle. It's not empty. It's a shaded in circle on 97. So 97 is included. All right. And everything greater than 97 is also included. So all the decimals in between the whole numbers or the integers, the fractions in between, all that. All right. So the main question I should say is which inequality has the solution set. Solution set is all the solutions because the inequality, like if I say like x is greater than 3, that's a set of solutions. That's not just one number. That don't just mean x equals 3. That means actually x is greater than 3. So any number in the universe that's greater than 3 is a solution. So 4 is the solution. 5, 8, 29, 30 million, 10 billion, 8 trillion. All the numbers in between, decimals that are greater than 3, all of them are part of the solution. That's why it's a set of numbers. That's why it's called a solution set. So which inequality down here, these are inequalities, see the inequality sign? Inequality, inequality, inequality. Which inequality has the solution set represented in the graph? So which one of these is represented up here, right? In green, in the graph. First thing you want to do is this. You want to understand how to translate this into an inequality. Because what they're doing is this, right? They want you to figure out which one of these, if you solved it, would be equivalent to what's graphed up here. All right. First things first, you need to understand that this means that x, and x is the variable that we're using. See, x, 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 and x. X represents all the values that are shaded in. X represents all the values that's shaded in. So 97 is shaded in, and everything bigger than 97 is shaded in. So that means that this can be expressed algebraically. This is graphical, right? It's a picture. All right. Just like you could post something on Instagram with no caption, but then the caption is like expressing it algebraically as an equation or an inequality. All right. So then you have x is greater than or equal to 97. All right. Math language. Understand the language of math. X is greater than or equal to 97 because 97 is included. That's a darkened in circle, and then everything to the right of 97 is also shaded in. All right. So we got x is greater than or equal to 97. All right. Then we go here to go to letter A. Now, I want to see which one of these is equivalent to x is greater than or equal to 97. So I want to solve for x. So we solve inequalities the same way we solve equations. We want to isolate the variable. Isolate the variable. Isolate the variable. Get rid of everything else on that side of the inequality. So if I want to solve for x in choice A, I want to get rid of this 4 and get rid of the -2. So basically what that's going to mean is, how do I get rid of 4? I'm going to subtract 4. Why am I subtracting 4? Because you got to do the opposite operation. You want to get rid of something, you got to do the opposite operation. Subtract 4, subtract 4. So that's going to be -2x is greater than or equal to -202. All right. Now, if I divide this by -2, then I'm going to have x is less than or equal to 101. So this ain't no good. Now, understand something. How did I get rid of the negative 2? I did the opposite operation. The opposite of negative 2 times x is dividing by negative 2. The opposite of multiplying by negative 2 is dividing by negative 2. So we're doing the opposite operation. All right. So we divide this by negative 2. It's going to be positive 101. But the only difference when you are going to divide, actually divide or multiply in an inequality, well, I should say the only difference between an inequality and solving an inequality and solving an equation is that when you divide or multiply by a negative number, the sign, the direction of the inequality flips around. Notice how it was greater than or equal to, now it's less than or equal to. Used to be greater than or equal to, now it's less than or equal to. So you got x is less than or equal to 101. But we need x is greater than or equal to 97. So A ain't no good. Now, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to look at these and I'm going to just go through the steps. If you subtract 4, right, you're going to get negative 202 again, right? You're going to get negative 202 again. Then you divide by negative 2, you're going to get positive 101. So you're going to end up with x is greater than or equal to 101. That ain't no good because if I subtract 4, I'm going to get the same negative 202. Subtract 4 on this side, subtract 4 on this side, I get negative 202. Then I'm going to divide by negative 2. I get 101. Positive 101. A negative divided by a negative equals a positive number. Why is this in a different direction? Because we divided by a negative. Whenever you divide by a negative in an inequality, the direction of the sign flips around. So B is also wrong because we're looking for x is greater than or equal to 97. Now, what about this one? I'm going to add 4 because I got to do the opposite operation. In these two, we had plus 4, plus 4. The opposite is subtraction. Here, we're going to do plus 4. Plus 4 means we're going to add 4, right? So we're going to end up with, let me see, negative 2x is greater than or equal to negative 194. So negative 2x is greater than or equal to negative 194. Then we're going to divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. So we're going to end up with x is, we got to flip the sign, because we divide them by a negative. We're about to divide by a negative, so you got to flip the sign. X is less than or equal to, what's that? Positive 97. Positive 97. But we don't need the less than or equal to. We want greater than or equal to, because less than or equal to 97 would be all of this shaded in. And all of this ain't shaded in. All of this ain't shaded in. It's empty, right? The shaded in part is from 97 on up. 97 on up. Man, 97, that's a long time ago. 97 is the year I graduated from high school. I'm an unk for real. Yeah. So x is less than or equal to 97. So C is no good. So based on the process of elimination, you know D is going to be the answer. We already know that. If you was actually taking the Keystone exam, you would know, don't even waste your time. If you are confident that you eliminated choice A, B, and C correctly, then by process of elimination, D must be the correct answer. So you don't need to you don't need to use time ensuring that D is the correct answer. But because we got time, we got nothing but time, right? We can make sure D is correct. So let's do this. Let me solve for X. Let me do plus 4 over here, plus 4 over here. That negative 4 is gone. The whole goal is to isolate the x, isolate the x, isolate the x. What's negative 198 plus 4? Negative 194. Then we're going to divide by negative 2. Get rid of the negative 2. Opposite operation. Isolate the x, isolate the x. Divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. Now, because I divided by a negative, that means I got to flip the direction of the inequality sign. I got to flip him around. So now I'm going to have x is greater than or equal to 97. Because 90 times 2 is 180 and 7 times 2 is 14. 180 plus 14 is 194. So x is greater than or equal to 97. So that's that. So this question deals with some different skills. You first got to know how to interpret the graph of an inequality, right? You got to first know how to interpret the graph of an inequality and know that this is x is greater than or equal to 97, right? Based on this. You got to know that from looking at it. Then you got to be able to solve inequalities to figure out which one of these 4 inequalities is the same as this or can be simplified to this. All right. And you have to also know that that's what you're being asked to do. you have to understand the language of math. It says which inequality, so which one of these four, right? It's only going to be one correct answer. Which one of these four has the solution set, this right here, represented in the graph? This is the solution set represented in the graph. When it says represented, that means what does the picture indicate? What do the picture tell us? The graph is a picture. That's all it is. It's a picture. It's like a picture you might see on Instagram, picture you might see on TikTok. It's a pic. That's all it is. All right. So you got to bring that understanding to mathematics and to the algebra. All right. So again, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you share the video. And if you have any questions about what we did, please drop your questions in the comments down below. All right. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.